Are your kitchen and bathroom way overdue for a remodel? Well, I got the guy for you. Call John Sellers at First Response Contracting, 484-256-7136. Both residential and commercial services, and he's licensed and insured. Call him at 484-256-7136. First Response Contracting. Hello, this is Brad Weisman, and you're listening to Real Estate and You, where every week we try to bring up some really cool topics, things to talk about, things to tell you that are going on in the real estate market. And I have a really, really, really cool guest here because she is an appraiser. And I've been trying to get an appraiser on this show for a long time. And I forgot my good friend Diane Longacre is an appraiser. And so she's here with me right now, and we're going to ask her some questions because I got to tell you right now, the appraisal business is just going crazy. Right, Diane?
You got that right, Brad.
Yeah. So I can't believe that you even had time to come in here and talk to me.
Well, for you, I made the time.
Oh, well, isn't that nice? See, she's really nice. She's really kind. I had to pay her $50 to say that, of course, but but she's very kind. But no, I brought you in here because you've been in the business for how long, Diane?
35 years.
35. You got me beat. And there's not many people anymore that have me beat. I'm at 28 years, believe it or not. And you probably remember when I got in the business, I had long hair, I had a ponytail and everything. So that was a long time ago.
I remember.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. So, I brought you in here because we are going through a time that, and you definitely know because you've been in for 35 years, we're going through a time right now that is just unprecedented as far as how busy we are. I mean, how are you keeping up?
Actually, working 7 days a week.
Yeah, exactly. I think we all are. And you had said before we even started recording that you actually have to get to a point where you're turning some of this stuff. You have to turn down business because there's only so much time in a day.
That's right.
Yeah. And so what we're finding, and you can tell me this, prices are going up.
You're correct.
And tell me what you do to be able to justify these prices going up. Like how hard does that make it for you?
Well, it's always a challenge. We put in our appraisal report a lot of time, we put the market conditions. Market conditions are very important. Inventory's low. The demand is high. We have to take that into consideration. And we're seeing, there's a lot of multiple offers on properties.
Now, when you say market conditions, so you're saying there is some explanation about the market conditions. See, I always thought that if you couldn't find something in the past that sold for that you're kind of in trouble because you can't justify that price. So you're saying you can put a little bit in there about the fact that there's less inventory and things like that. That does come into play.
Yes, it does come into play. There was a form that was added back a few years ago after the market rose and came to, a crash and a decline.
Yeah.
Right? There was a form that was added, market conditions form, and it was required in all appraisals reports. And it still is for some lenders required today. But it's something we still use all the time. It's actually available in Bright MLS. The realtors have access to it too. We fought for that for a while to get that in there.
Never knew that was there.
Because it used to take us initially, it took close to an hour for us appraisers to figure it out, but now it's available in Bright that you can do it. And we use that. I still use it today, even if the lender doesn't require it. You still need to use it because it's statistics, and you can breaks it down into monthly period, like the last 7 to 12 months.
Right. Oh, and that shows a trend.
It shows a trend.
Okay.
Yep, it shows a trend statistically that you can, so we can see that the market, the values are increasing and by what percentages.
Interesting.
So
I learned something already. Yeah. I didn't know this. I seriously didn't know that. So that does come into play.
Oh, it certainly does. And it's amazing that you can see in the last 3 months.
Oh, it's crazy.
How the values have been increasing.
Yeah. So what have you seen? What percentages are you seeing?
Typically between 2 and 5%.
In the past year, 12 months running?
In the past 6 months.
Wow.
In the past 6 months.
Wow. So if that keeps going, we could be looking at 10% increases in prices in 1 year. Is that possible?
Well,
is it possible or no? I don't know.
I guess it could be possible. but
probably 5% is what we're looking at,
right?
Which is still good,
right?
I mean, 5% is good.
Oh,
it's good investment money there.
And I know that just this past week, the National Association of Realtors said that sales have increased by 20.7%. So
unbelievable,
amazing.
It is incredible, and I think I don't see. I mean, you can tell me. I don't see this market changing. Mostly because there's no inventory. We don't have enough homes to sell.
Right. I agree with you there. I am a little bit of concern though, because of the overall economy and employment that could when is that going to catch up?
Yeah.
Eventually.
It could. And it might, you're right. It might catch up. And that could stabilize the real estate market a little bit, right?
Right,
yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, interesting. So you were saying before that, I always wanted to find out what appraisers thought about realtors helping you out. And I'm not saying we can't help you out, but we can at least say, hey, by the way, this is what we use as comparables. We're just giving you this information,
right.
And you decide from there if it's viable or not.
Right. I would love for a whole week for a realtor just to be in my shoes and sit with me.
I can't. But so you get people mad at you, I'm sure.
Right. But it is. I always do appreciate when a realtor. They don't have to meet us at the properties, although some do, and which is always
But you
nice.
do like that.
I do like that. It's nice to have somebody help me hold the tape measure.
I see now why you like it. It's free help is what you're saying. I see. That's hilarious.
But besides that, if you come to the property and you bring, your perspective, especially if there were, let's say you had, and this is true today, there's 5 or 10 offers on a property.
Yep.
And it ends up that the one that's accepted could be $15,000 over what the list price was.
It's happening a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
And you come to the property and you bring your comparables, your perspectives, and usually I get a little love note too, which is nice, but
a little love note. That's funny.
We don't go in. We're unbiased.
Yeah, of course.
And we do our job to the best of our ability. But it's nice to hear. We want to be open to your perspective and where you're coming from.
Yeah.
One of the biggest issues I see is that we cannot ignore comparable sales in a particular neighborhood.
Gotcha.
So
if it's in that community,
you got to use it. We have to use it, and sometimes it hurts. There'll be a low value, and usually if we see it's considerably lower than what the sale price is of the property that you're selling, I'll call that realtor and ask them, did it sell below market? Why? What were the conditions or whatever? And sometimes they say, well, no, I feel I priced it right and this is what it sold for. So we can't ignore that. And we, a lot of times we'll ask the realtors to, after they appeal our appraisal because they don't like the value it came in at, and they come back with comparables and they'll all be from, a neighborhood that's 2 or 3 miles away, and we know where the prices are considerably higher than the neighborhood.
Yeah, of course. They have an agenda there at that point. Yeah.
Right. So,
so if it's in the same community, I got a question for you, and I've heard this a lot. What if it's a foreclosure? What if it's a foreclosure? Do you still take that into account? I mean, because what if the value is really low because the place was trashed?
Right. If we have enough other comparable sales, you do not have to put it in as a comparable.
Okay.
I will, though, for the lender, the underwriter who could be sitting in Georgia.
Right.
Okay. So that they look at that and to tell them, hey, I looked at that comparable sale.
Right.
And this is why I did not put it in my report, because it's not indicative of current market values in the neighborhood and marketing area.
Yeah, because I get sellers asking that question all the time. They're all worried. I'll come over to do the market analysis for them, and they're concerned because they're like, oh my God, the Smiths down the street foreclosed and it went $30,000-$40,000. I'm like, look. Typically in an appraisal situation, because I had asked this question before, was they say that they usually kind of just, put that to the side because it's not normal. Right. It's not the normal situation.
Right. The appraisal grid, the page 2 typically has, you have 3 comps.
Right.
I can't remember the last time I only submitted 3 comps.
Yeah,
And
right.
I haven't in years. I usually always have six, and I put active and pending listings in also.
And why do you do that? To show
because
a trend?
that helps show the trend.
Okay.
And if we are at the high end, like, this property is the highest price sale.
Right.
And we feel that we can justify it.
Yeah.
And the market value is there because it's impeccable. It has a new remodeled kitchen with
Right.
granite countertop.
So all that stuff comes
new
into play.
Bathroom. Yes. All that. Then, we need to,
Yeah.
we need to verify and feel comfortable signing.
That's
signing our
your
name to
license.
them. That's right.
That's your license
That's
on the
exactly
line right
right.
there.
Right.
And it's funny too. Everybody says, isn't an exact science. It's not.
No, it's
because there's human beings involved.
Right.
So it can't be exact. If it was a computer system with algorithms
Right.
and that's it,
Right.
it would be an exact system. But the fact that you have an opinion in your
Right.
mind, and you also have your experience, and your experience is different than somebody else. The other thing I've noticed too is that I definitely notice that if it's an in-town appraiser, if it's an appraiser from Berks County,
Right.
their appraisals are much more accurate than somebody that's not from the area.
That I agree with that 100%. And I myself, I will not do an appraisal out of Berks County.
Good for you.
Unless I will do, because I grew up in the Valley Boyertown
Okay,
area.
so you
I
know
will
that
do
area.
Gilbertsville, Boyertown,
Gotcha,
that
yeah.
parts of Montgomery
Right.
down there. But I will not go to Lehigh. First
Good
of
for
all,
you.
they aren't part of Bright.
Yeah, right. So
MLS, so I don't have all the data.
Right.
And so I strictly stick to Berks County
Berks
because
County.
I think you need to know, because I know where the landfills are in Berks County. I
That's
know
that's
where
what I use all the time for that example.
Where
Yes.
the active railroad tracks are.
Yes. And these are things that are important.
That's right, very.
And the other thing that I've noticed of people that out of town appraisers, the one that gets me is the Wyomissing Reading. The cutoff right there in Wyomissing and
Right.
Reading. If you have an in-town appraiser, they know that there's a big difference in values between the Wyomissing and Reading. Now, it could be right down the street, but I think it needs to be noted that the values are definitely different from one school district to the next.
Oh, that's
and
right.
whether it's right or wrong, it's just the way it is.
Right.
I mean, you can't deny that issue. So that's something I've found. I've had people do appraisals from out of town, and the house was in Reading schools, which is fine, but they're pricing it like it's in Wyomissing schools. And it's just not the same. So I'm sure you come across that.
Oh, sure. All the time.
And what do you do then? What if the house is right next door, but it's across the line?
You make an adjustment.
Okay. So you make an adjustment
make
based
an
on
adjustment.
okay.
Right. That's
okay.
Yes.
Interesting. So you might use the comp, but you'll say minus 10 or plus
Right,
10 or whatever
right,
it is for that
exactly.
thing. Now, the other thing I always hear about is there's always the question about what is above ground square footage and what is below ground square footage.
Oh, I love this question.
Yes.
Because the buy level.
Yes, that's what I was just going to say. The buy level is
That's
the
right.
question. Yes.
Okay. When the floor level all has to be at ground or above level for it to be considered
Above
above
ground.
grade square footage.
Got it. And because as soon as you cross that line, that square footage is not worth near as much.
Right. That's
Right?
correct.
Yeah.
But understand, we're comparing apples to apples.
Right.
So, but it is very difficult because almost no one has in the tax, the tax records usually have with a buy level, both levels, but
Yep.
they do have the amount of the lower level, below grade
Correct.
in there.
Yeah, but they usually have it together.
But in the Bright multi-list, most realtors don't have it broken up that way.
I agree with you 100%.
And so we have to figure that out.
Right. And it's worth considerably less for that square footage down below. I mean, I do that. I just had my house appraised for a refi just not too long ago.
Okay.
And I was just amazed at what I got per square foot in my basement. It was like $17 a square foot, and it's finished. And then the upstairs got like $125, $130, whatever it is,
Right.
But it was just amazing. But then they did give me extra money for my full bath.
Right.
For a legal bedroom that had egress,
right.
and it gave me money for that. But the square footage itself, it was
the
$16 to $17
footage,
a square foot or
could
somewhere
be.
in there. Yeah.
Right.
Interesting. So there's the whole mystery. So and this is the one that the bi-level thing is the one. So you have a bi-level right here.
Right.
Okay. And then and it says 2,000 square foot. We know that there's 1,000 upstairs and 1,000 in the basement. Okay. The 2-story next door says 2,000 square feet and also has a basement. People think that that's the same. It's not the same.
No, it's not the same.
It's not the same.
And
so
if you look
there we go.
and
The
if
mystery is solved.
Right. And if you look at, the sales of bi-levels compared to 2-story,
Always
you see
lower.
it. But a lot of people think, well, it walks out the back, so half of the back you should no, it's basement.
It's basement. Right. It was built to be basement. But the thing that happened is we started finishing bi-level basements. Everybody did.
Oh, sure.
Because it was extra space.
Right.
But it's still a basement. It's still that spot. So that's very cool. Oh my gosh, we went way over time. This is wonderful. But you know what it is? I get to pick the brain of an appraiser, which I never get to do. So I want to thank you for coming in here today. And I know it's been a while till we get together because you've been busy. I've been busy. Is there anything you want to leave us with about the appraisal world right now?
No, I'm just, I love my job. I love realtors, and we're all happy that the market's doing well, and we hope it continues. And
absolutely.
Everybody be safe, and thank you, Brad, for having me.
You're welcome. Go out there and get some appraisals done. I'm sure you're going to do some today, I would think, right?
For sure.
Yeah, exactly. So thank you so much, Diane, for coming in. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
So there you have it, Diane Longacre from Realty Wise. She's just an amazing appraiser. She really is. And an amazing person, too. Just a good person. So there you have it. Listen to this show because it's all about appraisals, and I'm glad you are listening to this show. Real Estate and You will be back next week, and I'll have some more topics coming up. If you have any ideas, let me know. Other than that, have a good one. Are your kitchen and bathroom remodels a little overdue? Well, now's your chance to call First Response Contracting. John Sellers will take care of you. 484-256-7136. They do residential and commercial, and they're licensed and insured. Give them a call at 484-256-7136.